welcome everybody. I see a lot of familiar faces there, so probably not a lot of new news because I think you probably all know what's going on at the co-op, but regardless, we've got a little presentation for you. We're going to be talking about the co-op, what happened in 2022, what we're working on for this year, and kind of on to the future. So Andrea is going to share the presentation that she put together for us, and then I'll talk for the first half, and then she'll come in for the second half, and then we'll be happy to take any questions should there be any. Andrea, you ready to share your presentation?
Yep.
Maybe not. Maybe not exactly. I always have trouble finding the mute and the unmute button. And it's like, I've been doing this for 3 years. I don't know how the buttons disappear, but
yeah.
While she's loading that up, I'm the general manager of the food co-op, and Andrea is our marketing manager. She's been with us about 5 years, maybe a little longer, and really done a great job of building our brand. And she's responsible for the graphics, the colors, the look and the feel of the food co-op. So awesome. Thank you so much. And Andrea, thanks for getting that going. So again, this is our presentation for today. It's also, if you plan on attending our annual general meeting, which is next Tuesday, you'll see some familiar slides in it as it's the basis of that presentation as well. So the food co-op is owned by the members, and we have a mission of working together to nourish our community. So we, past year, celebrated 50 years of being in business, and we're really excited to share some of that story with you today. Next slide, please. You should know I wanted to drive, but I decided I couldn't both drive the slideshow and navigate and talk and deal with all the issues that come along with it. So I'm glad Andrea's here to help me. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about 2022, as I said, the challenges and successes, and our plans for 23 and beyond. And, you know, basically, very similar to everybody else, we spent the year wrapping up and dealing with leftovers from the pandemic. We did a lot of facility repairs, and we established a new farmers fund, which we're really excited to share that. Next one, Andrea. So the pandemic, as likely you already know because you've got businesses as well, has caused ripple effects in our industry within the supply chain, and with disruptions, we struggle to get product, market volatility, there's price increases. It's everywhere, but it's certainly impacted the food co-op because food is so perishable. It's so quick to respond. If there's a flood or a fire or a war somewhere, it can really affect our supply of food. Can you go to the next slide, Andrea? We're going to unpack that high cost of doing business here at the co-op. And again, I know I'm talking about things that are probably very similar for your business, but certainly what we found is that the bottom line, the cost of doing business has increased in all areas. So when the cost of goods increase, we do have to pass those increases on to our shoppers. And that can be challenging for anybody who's a shopper. You don't want to see the prices go up. I know I don't, and I don't like having to pass them on. But again, the cost of operations has also increased for us, from supplies, which have been skyrocketing, packaging supplies. They have to package all those belly foods and bags and cups, and kind of goes on and on, gloves, masks, so many of them. We've got our utilities, which have increased tremendously. Doing repairs costs a lot more money than it used to, if you can find someone to do the repairs. Our staff, of course, so critical to us. We couldn't do this without them, but of course, costs of paying people to do that important work has also increased, as has all the things that go along with supporting our staff. So it's been pretty tremendous for us. And one of the things it's really done is make us look at how we can be sustainable for the next 50 years. I think that really the sum total of the effect of COVID is because it has disrupted so much from how we shop to what we're looking for, to whether or not we even go to the store, or are we going to buy online, to everything that we do. It's really, on some level, it's disrupted everything, the way we used to do things, but it's also influencing how we will do things from here on. So I also think of it as an opportunity to reevaluate, what have we been doing that doesn't work? Do we want to bring it back, or do we want to move it on? Are we going to let go of it? And how are we going to navigate the future together? And as a business, of course, that's really critical. We have to be financially successful, or we won't be here to share that success with our community. So in terms of prices going up so tremendously, we have been partnering with other food co-ops across the country to look for ways that we can help our customers save dollars at the register. So we ended up commanding our dining room, as I'm sure many of you know. We've been doing a lot of, yeah, Andrea, that'd be great if you want to move on to that slide. Thanks. It's fine. So we took over the dining room and put a lot of product up there. We've been doing what we call forward buying. So if we can get a pallet or something that we know customers want, we're worried about the supply or the price, we'll go ahead and buy a pallet of beans or a pallet of aseptic milk. And that can help us not only have product on the shelf, but also level out the cost. We've also, in partnering with other co-ops, brought in a lot more of what we call the co-op basics, which are a private line. They are mostly field day brands, and field day is, as I said, it's private. It's not a fancy name. It doesn't have fancy packaging, but it is organic and it's good quality. And because it's not fancy, we're able to keep the prices low. We've been doing a lot more co-op deals, and then what we call BOGOs, which are buy one, get one free. This month we had olive oil. It's been tremendous. In fact, we haven't been able to keep up with it. We also, at the register, instituted a SNAP match. So for customers who are on what's called EBT, or we used to call it food stamps, but they don't call it that anymore. We've been able to give them, with the help of the USDA and the partners at the health department, $5 off on produce, and that just got doubled to $10 off this year. With some extra grant money they were able to get. So that's been really helpful for our customers. And we've also been focusing on streamlining operations behind the scenes by reallocating resources, using technology where we can, to either manage money better or better manage people. We've also gone into the store and done a whole bunch of work. In 2022, we put some new lights in produce. We did some repairs over here at our administrative building. We don't actually all fit in the store. A lot of our staff work out of an administrative building, and then we have one more place for trainings and big meetings. But we did bring in new check stands and shopping carts. Just have to continuously reinvest in our cooperative to keep it strong and vibrant. And coming up in 2023, we're going to be resealing and restriping the parking lot. We've got a project to rebuild in the the bulk room, which was the dining room once upon a time. And at the far end behind those shelves, there's windows that have been leaking. So we're going to have to take them out and rebuild those walls and make them waterproof. It's an opportunity to think about, how do we redesign the flow? What's working in there? What isn't? We've got a cheese cooler that's aging. So the list just goes on. And anytime we try to do something like buy a new cheese cooler, it seems to take us forever to get a quote, we'll order it, and then it gets stuck at the border. So it's been really challenging to even do some of the things that we need to do. But that's the real focus this year and next year, is make sure that in the wake of our expansion, that our building is strong and functional and doing the best it can do to meet the shoppers' needs. Next slide. So this year, we also really work to invest in our staff as much as possible. We've been calling it building a culture of kindness and respect, because ultimately that's how everybody wants to be treated. We want to be welcomed, we want to be appreciated, but we also want respect from each other. So we've, as I mentioned, streamlined employment practices internally. We gave a 5% raise to all of our staff, and we continue to offer really good benefits. Kristen's here, and Jennifer too. They know all about our benefits package, and it's a good one. But the cost of doing good things for our staff does come at a price. We've also been building bench depth within our store. We added assistant store manager, hired a new HR manager, a facilities manager, a grocery manager. And with all of that, it's been a lot of turnover in our staff. So we've had to go back and train our supervisors. Those new food rules. This all comes at great expense to the organization. And we just work really hard to be as efficient as we can, make sure our staff has the skills and abilities and the support they need to be effective, and help run a great store. As a result, we were able to share a portion of that profit last year with our staff. If we make any profit over break even, we'll share half of that with our staff as a bonus. And then this summer, we're happy to announce we're going to have a staff party. We're so excited. We haven't had an actual in-person party in a long time. So that's going to be super fun out at Rain Coast Farms. Next slide. And first, now I want to give a great shout out to our board of directors. Owen Rowe is here with us this morning. He's been on the board for maybe 7 years, but the board is critical to the food co-op. So our co-op is owned by our members. We have about 7,000 members at any given time. And they, because we're owned and operated by our members, and we're a democratically owned organization, the members elect our board of directors. Now, they're responsible for setting long range and visioning for the business, and they're also responsible for hiring and supervising the general manager, which is me. And I've been here in this role since 2011. And I have to say, this board is awesome. I really enjoy working with them. They've built their skills, they're really supportive, and together we're a great team. And this year we started thinking, as part of that sustainable vision, what are we going to be doing for the next 50 years? And what is that going to look like? We call that the end. Where are we going? Where do we think we'll be? What's the difference we're going to make in our community? And the board spent 2022 and the first half of 2023 gathering information, conducting surveys, and those ends are being revised, and we're getting really close to having a new fresh set of ends. And that helps build the roadmap of what do we do as a business to make a difference in our community. And Andrew is going to be talking about some of those differences a little later. Next slide. So to have a democracy, we have to live it day by day. And I think that's one of the tasks of the food co-op, is to be stewards of democracy. What a gift it is to live in a democracy. It also can be challenging, right? Because we've got to have conversations. We don't all agree. Not everybody thinks we should be doing the same thing. So that's why we talk about democracy, not necessarily a goal, but a path and a process through which people actively engage. And one of the things we are going to be doing early in January 2024 is bringing in John Steinman. He's the author of Grocery Story. He wrote the story about cooperatives, and especially food co-ops. We've been around as a type of business, a grocery co-op's been around about 250 years. First one being in England, excuse me. So that democratic process is part of what we've been doing. And we're going to be bringing in John to help us learn some skills about how to have cooperative dialogue. part of that kindness and respect, right? How we can talk to each other and still have differences of opinion. We'll see. We're excited. We're going to be having 2 different nights. One will be in Port Townsend at the Maritime Center, and the second's going to be out in Chimacum, and it looks like it'll be out at Fin River, but we'll be in the hay barn where it's a little warmer. And so we're going to have 2 different sessions. In between, we'll do some staff training. It's going to be no charge. It's not going to be like an RSVP thing. It's just going to be open to the community, and we hope to see a lot of people there and get excited about how to have great conversation. Sorry, did not mute my phone previously. Awesome. Next slide, Andrea. Oh, and now I'm going to turn it over to her. Andrea's going to be talking about our annual report and some of the ways that we've been supporting our local community. Thanks, Andrea.
Yeah, thanks, Kenna. So our annual report is out now. It just got released. We will have some copies in the store and also on our website. It is in the Summer Around the Table issue, which also gets inserted into the PT Leader, and it was in there this week. So you can check that out. There's articles about local recipes, summer recipes. There's stuff about our numbers of giving, how we give into the community. Also some information about our sustainability programs and kind of our general outlook on community and building community. So it's a great issue. Check it out. And I'm actually going to go over some of this annual report stuff now. So one of the things that's in the annual report is our giving by the numbers. When it comes to community giving, we try to give within what we call the 4 pillars. And those pillars are food access, sustainable land and sea stewardship, healthy kids and families, and also supporting the cooperative model. So when we're looking at where we can best impact the community, we want to try to give mostly in those 4 areas so that it aligns well with our values. Our biggest, most popular, successful giving program is our Beans for Bags program. As you can see on the slide, last year alone, through that program, we donated 18,700 some change to local communities. The cool thing about that program is the organizations are nominated by our members. So the way it works is we take nominations for nonprofits to receive these funds in October and November. And then in December, I sit with our board community committee, and we sit and kind of narrow down what the next 12 organizations will be for the next year. So it's a really cool program. Also, the food bank is on there year round. So we do the food bank and then 12 other organizations each year. We did 14,675 in local program and event sponsorships. A lot of this went to food access programs. Amanda's here from the farmers market. We support their food access programs through sponsorship. We also sponsor the Production Alliance, which builds community through local events. And then, you know, throughout the year, we get tons of donations for various fundraisers or gift baskets. And you know, we try to help all these nonprofits in our community do their good work by supporting them. So it's a really, it makes me feel good that we get to help the community in that way. We have such a great nonprofit group here. So next, yeah. Okay, so last year we had our 50th anniversary celebration. It was kind of right out of COVID, and it's funny because I think it was the first event of last summer, and it was over 1,000 people that came. So I think we were all ready to get out of hibernation. And I thought that I would just share this little recap video that was done by Timoki Sage. And we can just watch that. It's about a minute long. So here we go.
shoppers and neighbors alike. Community. The food co-op means a lot to me because I buy lots of food there, and it's very organic.
I can go to the co-op on my bicycle and get my bicycle banana.
I'm glad to be here and celebrate a wonderful occasion.
Every time I watch that, it reminds me of how great that day was. Oh, hello. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about local. So last year, as Kenna said, we started our Farmers Fund. How that works. So currently you can round up your purchase or do donations through the registers, and it is going into what we call our Farmers Fund. And right now we are just collecting money through the year, and then we're going to be offering these funds up to farmers as grants. So farmers will be able to apply to get these funds for whether they need, I don't know, a new tool or a new cooler or something. So it was built to help support our farmers. And originally last year we started with the farmers that were providing food for the food bank, and we were giving them kind of just to fill the gap. But we're moving that into a grant program, and we're excited to see how that builds over this year. Last year for our 50th, we were able to collaborate with local vendors. And on my next slide, I'll kind of show you what those products were. And last year alone, we brought in 14 new local vendors, Kadama Farm, also tons more SKUs too of existing vendors. So we're always looking at how we can support those producers into coming into the food co-op. It's kind of a stage. They have to get to where they can provide enough for us to be able to sell every day. Let's see, next slide. So here's all our partners that partnered with us last year to make special 50th anniversary products. Big shout out to all these vendors. That was a really fun project. We did all the labels, and yeah, it was just neat to see everything come together. So big shout out to those guys. Hopefully you were able to try some of those products. So here's just some fun numbers that I pulled together just to kind of give you an idea of really how much local we sell. So we did over 13,000 loaves of pane bread. And our town really loves tiramisu, apparently, because we sold over 6,000 packages of tiramisu, which is just a lot of tiramisu. So anyway, I think these numbers are really cool. Over 2,500 crust hand pies. Thanks, Kelly, for making all those pies. Yeah, so it's kind of fun at the end of the year to pull these numbers and just see the impact that we're making in our local community. I mean, these are Jefferson County businesses. So anyway, that's just kind of a little peek into what those numbers look like. One thing I've been working on this last year was getting in with the school to really showcase local. If you don't know, the school lunches source a lot of local products. So I worked with Shannon to create these posters, as you see on the slide, for all the cafeterias, so that the kids, and we wanted it to be fun. So, you know, the elementary school kids could really understand that these are local people that their food's coming from. I also was a mentor for the Food Innovation Project at the Port Townsend High School. I love this program. If you want to be a mentor, I suggest you sign up for next year. What we did, basically, I worked with ninth grade students, and there was a bunch of us mentors doing this, but their challenge was to um, make a value added product using a local ingredient. And so we started off the year just brainstorming ideas, and then we had to go into sourcing, and then we coached them on branding their product, packaging, how to set up for a vendor booth. And by the end of the year, we had market day, and all the groups of kids had all their products. And some of them were so, I mean, I was just amazed, really. I was like, some of these are ready for the farmer's market. So I told him to go talk to you, Amanda. No. Anyway, it was just really fun to see how each group just took their ideas and took it all the way. It's, it's basically like an entrepreneur boot camp. You're teaching these kids how to take a product all the way to market. So I've signed up to do that again next year. And I think it's a really important program. We also, if you've seen at Salish Coast, they've got a new greenhouse, hoop house there. They're also building a greenhouse, and it was too late for them to start seeds this year, so we ended up donating a lot of veggie starts to get that garden going. And that garden is now a production garden, and will supply vegetables to all the cafeterias for the Port Townsend School District. So it's pretty awesome to watch that grow over the years too. This is just a huge thanks to all our staff who make work exciting every day and fun, and help you guys find all those cool products. And I think this is my last slide, and then I'm going to pass it back over to Kenna.
Like I said, sometimes I just struggle to find that a mute button. So I don't know, like, where's my mouse? I've got two screens. Sometimes I can't even find my mouse to unmute myself. So if you're not a member yet, I would encourage you to invest in this cooperative. It's a great business, and we are owned by our members. Again, we're democratically owned and operated, and it's pretty amazing business. Really excited about it. If you think about being more involved, you can also consider running for our board of directors. It's a great opportunity to build skills and have fun, learn a lot about the co-op, have some influence, and we actually do compensate our board for their time, and even offer childcare. And this has meant that we get a really diverse selection of people on the board. What a great group they are. And they're, again, good partners in helping grow the co-op and set the direction. And in 2022, we did make a profit. It was pretty exciting. As a cooperative, what we can do is we can declare a dividend, and then we give the profit back to the owners. We also have the ability to hold on to some of it for the future to help build our business. So this year we're giving 20% of that back to members. 80% is being held in their names. So it's still owned by the members. And when we feel like we don't need it, we'll start giving it back. Typically it's a few years down the road, and co-ops start handing out what they call patronage dividends. I think we get some from a co-op that they held it back from like 2005, and now they're starting to hand it out. So anyhow, eventually it all goes back to the owners. And I think, is that the end of the presentation, Andrea? I think it is. So I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us today. And we are happy to take your questions if you have any, or your comments.
Yes, thank you both. If anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat, or feel free to unmute and fire away.
Well, while we're waiting for those, I do want to say a shout out to the Farmers Market, who are a great partner of ours. I'm super glad that Amanda's here. But, you know, that's one way we can help grow our local producers, and we're really excited to be able to work with them. Carol, you had a question.
Oh, I just have a gratitude for you and all the co-op does. I'm I'm member number 82, and I have the good fortune of traveling a lot. And when I had my sail making business, opportunities to set up the sail loft in other parts of the country, from Alaska to Baja to Hawaii. And Hawaii has good food, but there is nothing like our co-op. And I'm so happy every time I walk in there and see that abundance and all the decades that the co-op has been here, growing, contributing to the community as the organic farming grew up around us, being a part of that and showcasing it. It's truly a beautiful thing. So thank you so much. It's such an important part of our community.
Well, thank you, Carol. I have to agree with you. I think it's pretty amazing. Jay, you had a question?
Yeah, I mean, I'll echo everybody else and say that the co-op is such an important part of our community, and we really appreciate it. And one of the things that I particularly appreciate is your support of the local farms and letting people know. Is there something, can you just talk a little bit about how you work with the farms and try and support them?
Yeah, thanks, Jay. We actually do it in a lot of different ways, and I sort of think of it starting with seed. We have also invested in the Organic Seed Alliance over the years to help have seed that can grow in this community, especially as the climate begins to change. It's super critical that we have a good food source here in our community. And certainly a few years ago, in the first stages of the pandemic, I realized how fast we ran out of food when people weren't able to bring us the food that we needed, and how reliant we really actually are on our local food system. And of course, it can't produce everything. We don't grow coffee beans here, but that realization, it really cemented the importance of supporting our local food producers so they are here when we need them. So other ways we do it, we are part of the Landworks Collaborative that has worked over the years to help farmers build up to get to where they are. That's a partnership with quite a few different groups in town, but Landworks was instrumental in helping Red Dog get off the ground and helping them find land and then have a bridge loan so that they could get going. And the latest one is Kadama Farm out in Quilcene. So we've been doing that for since before I started working here in 2011, and I think it's really an exciting thing. The other way we do it is when people are interested in taking a product to market, so that a producer, perhaps more than just a farmer, and there's no such thing as just a farmer, I'm sorry, but value added is what I'm thinking. We'll work with them in the store. We'll help them figure out what it needs to get an item packaged, as Andrea mentioned, or labeled correctly, make sure they've got all the permits they need so they can help grow their business. If it's a farmer, we're going to be talking to them about producing in volume. We need a certain amount. And we've really helped grow, I think, several of the local farms in building their capacity. I think Dharma is one of them that has gotten so far into building their capacity that now they sell to organically grown Co-op, which is our veggie distributor. Sometimes when we order carrots from organically grown, we get them from Dharma, kind of ironically. But yeah, I think it's multifaceted. Often we, as part of this project, in fact, with the ends, we've had conversations with local farmers, and we had a round table and certainly heard about all their struggles. It's so difficult to farm in the first place, but especially in this day and age, it's gotten really difficult to find staff, to pay staff, to find housing for staff. So, one of the best things we can do is sell more local products. And we've heard that from our local farmers over the years. So about 5 years ago, maybe a little less, we helped found Eat Local First. And we saw that as a marketing campaign to help our local producers really, in essence, market themselves. As I said, we can farm, but we don't have time to do marketing. It's like, all right, let's do this. So we co-founded Eat Local First, which has grown into a pretty large organization. And then that's merged with the Washington State version. So it's really investing in from the ground up, and then helping build capacity, and then some of these projects that we have at the register, like the Farmers Fund, recognizing there's still gaps in funding as a farmer, and what we can do is just help a little bit with filling those gaps. We can't do everything.
Yeah. Well,
and
thank
I
you.
could go
Thank
on.
you. I know, but thank you for all your efforts. It's really important. And just as with the co-op, our local farmers are an amazing resource that we have here.
Yeah, they are. And again, as soon as that truck can't get over the Hood Canal Bridge or come up the Hood Canal, we really, really struggle here. We're like one step shy of an island. And I think it's really important that we invest in our local food system, so it's there, it's resilient, and it can help feed us. And again, it can't do everything, but I'm very appreciative of all of our local producers, and glad that we can do something to help them and us be successful.